Listen to me. Money isn't wealth. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner your life will transform. We've been sold a lie that if you just get more money, if you just pile up the cash, if you just chase the numbers, somehow you'll finally feel rich. You'll finally feel free. You'll finally feel alive. But money is not wealth. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is choice. Wealth is waking up in the morning and not being chained to a life you hate. Wealth is time with your family, health in your body, passion in your soul. Wealth is energy, the energy to create, to give, to grow, to experience life on your terms. You can have all the money in the world and still be broke inside. You can be a billionaire and live in fear, anxiety, emptiness. That is not wealth. That's slavery to a number that will never be enough. So what is real wealth? Real wealth is when your money serves your life, not when your life serves your money. Real wealth is when you've mastered your mind, your emotions, your habits. Because the truth is, if you don't master them, money will master you. And money, my friend, is a terrible master. I've seen people chase it like it's oxygen only to end up suffocating. Why? Because they never ask the real questions. What does wealth mean to me? What life do I want to design? What experiences do I want to create? What impact do I want to leave? You see, money is just paper, just digits on a screen. But wealth, it's the fire inside you. It's the strength to say no when everyone else says yes. It's the courage to step away from what the world calls success so you can live by your own definition of success. That's real power. That's real wealth. And here's the secret. When you live in true wealth, when you live in energy, passion, and purpose, money flows to you anyway. Money becomes a byproduct, not the pursuit, because people are drawn to energy. People are drawn to value. People are drawn to someone who is alive, not someone who is desperate. So stop asking, how can I get more money? Start asking, how can I create more wealth? How can I expand my freedom? How can I elevate my energy? How can I deepen my relationships, sharpen my mind, strengthen my spirit? That's the game worth playing. That's the life worth living, because money isn't wealth. And if you chase money without creating wealth, you will always be poor. But if you create wealth within yourself, money will never make you rich. It will only magnify the richness you already have. When I say money is a tool, not the destination, I want you to really pause and feel the truth in that. Think about a hammer. A hammer can build a house. It can fix a roof. It can hang a picture on the wall. But no one in their right mind holds up a hammer and says, this hammer is my life. This hammer is my purpose. This hammer is my ultimate achievement. Yet that's exactly what so many people do with money. They worship it, they chase it, they cling to it like it's the very meaning of their existence. And when they finally get some, they think the chase is over, but deep inside they know the emptiness is still there. Why? Because money was never the destination. It was only ever meant to be the tool. Look around at the world. How many people are burned out, exhausted, and unhappy even though they've achieved financial success? They bought the house, they got the cars, they stacked the bank account, but they're still restless. They're still searching. They're still unfulfilled. That's because money by itself can't give meaning to your life. It can buy comfort, it can buy security, it can buy access, but it cannot buy purpose. It cannot buy love, it cannot buy fulfillment. It cannot buy you the feeling of waking up every single day and knowing you're living life on your own terms. That comes from within. That comes from creating a life worth living. Not just a bank balance worth bragging about. The trap so many people fall into is this illusion that if they just get to a certain number, then they'll finally be free. They tell themselves, once I hit 6 figures, once I hit 7 figures, once I retire with this much saved, then I'll finally feel rich. Then I'll finally feel successful. But the truth is, every time they hit that number, the goalpost moves. They never arrive. Because you don't arrive at life's destination by stacking numbers on a screen. You arrive by stacking moments of meaning, moments of growth, moments of connection, moments of joy. That's wealth. And money is just a tool to help create those moments, not the end itself. Think about it. What good is a tool if you don't know how to use it? If someone handed you the most advanced tool in the world and you had no idea how to operate it, it would just sit there collecting dust. That's exactly what happens when people get money but don't know what to do with it. They buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like. They drown themselves in debt trying to look wealthy instead of actually being wealthy. They end up trapped, slaves to their possessions, slaves to the image they're trying to uphold. That's not freedom. That's not success. That's not wealth. That's a prison with golden bars. The purpose of money is to serve you, not to own you. It's meant to be the fuel, not the finish line. It's meant to give you the resources to design your life, to create, to explore, to grow, to contribute, to impact. It's meant to open doors, not close you inside of them. When you realize this, everything changes. You stop seeing money as something to hoard and start seeing it as something to use. You stop letting it define your worth and start letting it expand your possibilities. You stop chasing it for its own sake and start directing it toward what truly matters to you. The danger comes when people confuse means with ends. Money is the means, not the end. It's the bridge, not the destination. Imagine if you built a bridge but never crossed it, just stood there polishing it, obsessing over it, guarding it. That's what happens when people spend their whole life chasing money, but never use it to cross into the life they really want. They become bridge builders who never journey into the land of fulfillment, love, freedom, and contribution. They die with the bridge intact, but the destination never reached. When you reframe money as a tool, you unlock power. Because suddenly it's not about how much you have, it's about how you use it. A person with modest means but a clear sense of purpose can live a life of greater wealth than a billionaire who's lost in emptiness. Why? Because true wealth is measured by alignment with your values, by your freedom of choice, by the richness of your experiences, by the impact you leave behind. The billionaire might have the bigger number, but the person who uses their money intentionally has the bigger life. Here's the truth you need to hold on to. Chasing money without purpose is like running a race with no finish line. You'll exhaust yourself, you'll wear yourself out, and you'll never feel like you've arrived. But when you know money is just a tool, you stop running in circles. You start building, you start creating. You start using money for what it was always meant for, to help you craft the life you were born to live. That's where fulfillment is found. That's where freedom is born. That's where real wealth begins. Wealth is energy. And when I say that, I don't mean some abstract idea that sounds nice on paper. I mean a living, breathing force that flows through every area of your life. Money by itself is static. It's digits, it's paper, it's metal. But energy is movement, vitality, momentum. And the truth is, wealth is not measured by what sits in your account. It's measured by the energy you carry in your body, the passion you ignite in your soul, the depth of your relationships, the fire in your spirit. You can have millions and be drained, bitter, lonely, and sick, and you're not wealthy. You're bankrupt where it matters most. But you can have modest means and be rich in energy, full of vitality, full of love, full of excitement for life, and you are wealthy beyond measure. Think about your health for a moment. If your body is broken down, if you can't get out of bed with energy, if you're dragging yourself through the day with no fuel, no amount of money will make you wealthy. You might be able to buy better medical care, but you cannot buy the feeling of waking up refreshed, alive, ready to take on the day. Real wealth is having the energy to live, to love, to pursue your purpose with full intensity. If your health is gone, the rest collapses, and money can't fill that hole. Energy in your body is the foundation of every other form of wealth, because without it, you can't experience anything fully. Now look at passion. Passion is another form of energy. When you're lit up by something you love, when your work, your mission, your calling electrifies you, you radiate. That energy attracts opportunity. It draws people in. It fuels creativity. Passion is contagious. It spreads. People want to be around someone who is alive, not someone who is just existing. You can have money, but if you hate the way you earn it, if every day feels like a grind, if you're constantly waiting for the weekend or the retirement plan, then you are not wealthy. You are surviving. Wealth is when passion fuels your life, when you wake up with fire in your gut, when you can't wait to create, build, or contribute. That's wealth, because that's energy. Relationships to our energy. Think about the people in your life. If you're surrounded by love, connection, laughter, and trust, you are wealthy in ways money can't touch. The energy of love cannot be purchased. It has to be cultivated. The richness of sitting with someone you care about, sharing joy, sharing struggles, celebrating victories, holding each other through pain, that's real wealth. What good is a mansion if you walk into it alone and no one is there to share it with you? What good is a yacht if you're surrounded by people who only care about you for what you can give them, not for who you really are? Money can buy company, but it cannot buy connection. Wealth is when your relationships overflow with energy that fuels you instead of draining you. Purpose is another dimension of wealth. Purpose is the energy of knowing your life matters, that what you're doing counts for something greater than yourself. Money without purpose is just a scorecard, a meaningless number that never fills you. Purpose transforms resources into impact. Purpose gives your actions weight. It gives your days significance. It gives your struggle meaning. When you have purpose, even challenges become fuel. They don't break you. They refine you. Purpose is a powerful energy, and when you're living in it, you feel a wealth that no paycheck can match. The truth is, energy multiplies money when you have it, but money cannot multiply energy if it's not already there. A drained, exhausted, passionless person with money is still poor in spirit. But an energized, passionate, purposeful person can attract, and multiply opportunities that lead to financial abundance anyway. This is why the richest people in the world aren't just the ones with the most money, they're the ones with the most energy. They live in a state of aliveness, and that aliveness creates wealth in every form. Money follows energy, not the other way around. Energy is also about growth. Growth is motion, it's progress, it's expansion. A wealthy life is one where you're constantly learning, constantly evolving, constantly stretching yourself. If you're stagnant, even if you're financially comfortable, you feel empty. If you're growing, even in small ways, you feel rich because you know you're becoming more than you were yesterday. Energy in the form of growth gives you momentum, and momentum is one of the greatest treasures you can have. It's what makes you feel alive, like you're moving forward instead of stuck in the same cycle day after day. Let's not forget contribution. Contribution is energy flowing outward. It's when you take the wealth of love, passion, health, and purpose within you and pour it into others. Contribution multiplies wealth because it expands beyond you. The energy you give away comes back to you magnified. There's no feeling richer than making a difference, than knowing someone's life is better because you existed. That's real wealth, and no amount of money can replace it. So when I say wealth is energy, I mean that true abundance is not in accumulation, but in circulation. Money sitting still does nothing. Energy sitting still fades. But when you circulate energy through health, passion, relationships, purpose, growth, contribution, you create a life that feels rich in every sense of the word. Wealth is not the pile of cash you sit on. It's the energy you generate, the energy you embody, and the energy you share. That is the currency of a wealthy life. Money without mastery leads to slavery. And this is one of the most dangerous truths most people ignore because they're too busy chasing numbers instead of building control. If you don't master money, it will master you. And when it masters you, it dictates your choices, your freedom, your emotions, and even your relationships. You become its servant, not its master. Think about how many people wake up every morning not because they're excited to live, but because they're terrified of what will happen if they don't. They go to jobs they hate. They tolerate situations that drain them. They sacrifice their dreams, all because money has the leash around their neck. That's slavery disguised as security. Mastery means knowing how to direct money, how to tell it where to go instead of wondering where it went. Without mastery, every dollar that comes and goes right back out, sometimes even faster than it arrived. That's why people can earn more than ever and still feel broke. It's not about income, it's about control. A person making modest money with mastery can be wealthier in life than someone making 10 times as much but bleeding it away without direction. If you don't have discipline, if you don't have awareness, money becomes a trap instead of a tool. It lures you in with the promise of freedom, but without mastery, it shackles you with debt, fear, and endless chasing. Slavery to money doesn't always look like poverty. Sometimes it looks like success. The big house with a mortgage that keeps you up at night, the car payments that chain you to a job you despise, the credit cards maxed out to maintain an image. The business deals you take not because they align with your values, but because you're afraid of losing your status. This is modern slavery. You might look rich to the world, but deep inside, you're broke in spirit because every decision is dictated by fear of losing the money you don't truly control. When money owns you, your soul is not free. Mastery requires a shift in mindset. It starts with seeing money as a servant, as a soldier you command, not as a master you bow to. It's about making your decisions from strength instead of desperation. People without mastery say yes to things they should say no to. They compromise their values for a paycheck. They sell their time without ever asking what it's truly worth. People with mastery use money to amplify their values, to create leverage, to build freedom. They don't chase money, they direct it. They don't live in fear of losing it. They live in power because they know how to multiply it, protect it, and use it for what matters most. But mastery isn't just about numbers and budgets. It's about mastering yourself. Because the truth is, money problems are rarely money problems. They're discipline problems. They're emotional problems. They're problems of self-control and self-worth. How many people spend not because they need, but because they're trying to fill a hole inside? How many people bury themselves in debt because they're addicted to the high of consumption, the rush of buying something new, the illusion of status? That's not mastery, that's addiction. And money feeds it until the person becomes completely enslaved. To master money, you must first master your impulses, your fears, your need to impress, your habits. If you don't, no amount of money will ever feel like enough. Slavery to money often hides behind stress. The stress of bills, the stress of owing, the stress of never having a cushion, the stress of living paycheck to paycheck. That stress eats away at your health, your relationships, your joy. It steals your energy and your focus, keeping you trapped in survival mode instead of thriving mode. This is why mastery is so vital. Mastery gives you control. Mastery gives you peace of mind. Mastery breaks the cycle of fear. It allows you to breathe, to plan, to create, to actually live instead of constantly reacting. Without mastery, you're on a hamster wheel you can never step off. Think about how many people trade their most precious resource, time, for money, and then waste the money in ways that don't even serve them. They give up years of their lives, moments with their families, opportunities for growth, and then they wonder why they still feel trapped. Time is wealth, and if money isn't serving your time, you are still a slave. Mastery is aligning money with your time so that it buys you freedom, not chains. It's making money work for you so you don't spend your whole life working for it. The scary part is most people don't even realize they're enslaved because society has normalized it. Debt is normal. Stress is normal. Living for the weekend is normal. Feeling trapped is normal. But just because it's normal doesn't mean it's wealth. Normal is the chain. Mastery is the key. When you take control, when you learn discipline, when you stop letting emotions run your financial life, you break free from the system that keeps most people stuck their entire lives. Mastery is rebellion against slavery. It's reclaiming your freedom from a world that profits off your lack of control. And here's the beautiful thing. Mastery isn't about being perfect with money. It's about being intentional. It's not about never spending. It's about spending with purpose. It's not about hoarding. It's about directing. It's not about fear. It's about freedom. When you have mastery, you can enjoy money without being enslaved by it. You can give generously without fear of lack. You can invest boldly because you understand risk. You can live fully because you know your foundation is strong. That's real wealth, and it only comes when you stop letting money master you and start mastering it. Wealth is inner strength, and this is something most people overlook because they've been conditioned to measure success by what's outside of them rather than what's within them. But the truth is, the greatest wealth you will ever own is not in your bank account. It's in your mind, your heart, your courage, your resilience, your clarity, and your ability to stand tall when everything around you tries to push you down. Money can disappear in a moment. Markets can crash. Economies can shift. Businesses can fail. But if you have inner strength, you have the power to rebuild, to reinvent, to rise again no matter what happens. Inner strength is the wealth that no one can take from you. Courage is wealth because it gives you the ability to face the storms of life without being crushed by fear. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're paralyzed by fear, you'll never use it to its full potential. You'll never step into opportunities. You'll never expand your life. Courage is what allows you to take risks, to pursue dreams, to walk away from situations that no longer serve you even when it feels uncertain. That's wealth because wealth is about freedom, and there is no freedom without courage. Courage allows you to build the life you desire instead of settling for the life you fear losing. Clarity because it saves you from confusion, distraction, and wasted years. How many people chase money without ever asking why? They accumulate, they grind, they hustle, but they never stop to define what success really means to them. And so even when they reach their goals, they feel empty because they were climbing the wrong mountain. Clarity is wealth because it aligns your actions with your values. It directs your energy toward what truly matters. It cuts through the noise of the world and helps you focus on what will actually bring you fulfillment. Without clarity, money is just motion without meaning. With clarity, every resource you have, including money, becomes fuel for a purpose-driven life. Resilience is wealth because life will test you. And if your wealth is only external, you will crumble when the storm hits. But when you are resilient, when you've cultivated the strength to bend without breaking, you carry wealth inside you that no circumstance can destroy. Resilience means you can lose money and not lose yourself. It means you can face setbacks and still push forward. It means you can stumble and still rise stronger. That kind of inner wealth is what allows people to thrive in the long run while others collapse under pressure. Resilience is the backbone of true wealth because it ensures you can keep moving forward no matter what obstacles appear. Discipline is wealth because it creates consistency, and consistency builds everything worth having. Discipline is what allows you to say no to impulses, to delay gratification, to stay the course when distraction is pulling you in every direction. Without discipline, money slips through your fingers, opportunities fade, and potential is wasted. With discipline, you compound growth over time, you build habits that create freedom, and you design a life that reflects intention rather than accident. Discipline is inner wealth because it gives you control over yourself, And when you control yourself, nothing outside of you can control your destiny. Self-belief is wealth because it's the foundation of every bold move you will ever make. If you don't believe in yourself, no amount of money can give you the confidence to pursue your vision, to step into your power, to lead, to innovate, to break away from the path others expect you to take. Self-belief is wealth because it turns doubt into fuel. It silences the noise of critics, and it allows you to trust your own voice in a world that is constantly trying to drown it out. When you believe in yourself, you are already rich because that belief creates opportunities. Money alone could never buy wisdom as wealth because knowledge applied is far more valuable than numbers accumulated. Wisdom allows you to use money, time, and energy effectively instead of wasting them. Wisdom helps you recognize what matters and what doesn't, what's lasting and what's temporary, what's worth your investment and what's just noise. Wisdom allows you to build a life of depth instead of one of surface-level success. Wisdom is inner wealth because it protects you from foolishness, from chasing illusions, from being consumed by greed. It allows you to live with perspective and purpose, and that makes every decision richer. Peace is wealth because without peace, nothing else matters. What good is money if your mind is restless, if you can't sleep at night, if you're consumed by anxiety and stress? True wealth is being able to sit in silence and feel whole, to walk through chaos and remain centered, to face challenges without losing yourself in fear. Peace is the wealth that allows you to actually enjoy everything else you've built. It gives you presence. It gives you calm. It gives you the ability to live in the moment rather than constantly chasing the next thing. Peace cannot be bought. It can only be cultivated, and once you have it, you realize how rich you truly are. Integrity is wealth because it creates trust, and trust creates opportunities that money alone could never buy. Integrity allows you to build relationships that are strong, reputations that open doors, and a legacy that lasts. Without integrity, money might buy influence temporarily, but it will collapse in the long run. With integrity, even when money is scarce, you are wealthy in character, and that wealth will always pay dividends in the form of respect, loyalty, and impact. Integrity is inner wealth because it ensures that everything you build is grounded on a foundation that will not crumble. Inner strength is wealth because it's portable, it's untouchable, and it's eternal. Markets can't erase it. Banks can't freeze it. Circumstances can't destroy it. It's the kind of wealth that grows every time you're tested, every time you rise after falling, every time you choose courage over fear, growth over comfort, integrity over compromise. This is the kind of wealth that makes you unstoppable because when you carry strength inside you, there is no external force powerful enough to keep you from creating, building, and living the life you were meant to live. When you live in true wealth, money follows. And this is one of the greatest paradoxes most people never understand because they've been conditioned to believe that the harder you chase money, the more of it you'll have. But the truth is chasing money with desperation pushes it further away, while embodying wealth in your energy, your purpose, and your contribution naturally attracts it towards you. True wealth is not the number in your account. It's the state you live in every day. When you are aligned, when you are energized, when you are driven by purpose, money becomes a byproduct of the value you create, not the target you're hunting down. People feel the difference between someone who is chasing money and someone who is living in true wealth. The one who chases money reeks of desperation. Every move they make is driven by scarcity, by fear of losing, by hunger that never satisfies. They push, they pull, they manipulate, and others can sense it. That energy repels opportunity because no one wants to be around someone who is starving inside, no matter how much success they flash on the outside. On the other hand, the person who lives in true wealth radiates abundance. They operate from a place of confidence, generosity, and clarity. They're not grasping for scraps. They're creating value, sharing energy, and building impact, and that energy is magnetic. People want to do business with them. People want to invest in them. People want to follow them. That's why money follows wealth. It's drawn to the energy of abundance. A true wealth creates trust, and trust is currency far more powerful than cash. When people trust your energy, your intention, and your consistency, doors open. You don't have to chase because opportunities find you. Clients, partners, and investors want to be part of what you're building because they feel your alignment, they feel your certainty, they feel your vision. Trust is built when you're not driven purely by money, but by impact, by excellence, by contribution. The paradox is that those who care less about chasing the money and more about creating real value end up earning more money than those who obsess about it. Because money flows to value, and value flows from living in true. When you embody true wealth, you focus on growth, and growth attracts money naturally. Money loves growth. It loves expansion. It flows toward people who are moving, creating, building, innovating. If you are stagnant, no amount of chasing will make it come to you. If you're growing, even without obsessing about it, opportunities to earn, to expand, to multiply appear. That's why people who are obsessed with their craft, with getting better, with serving at higher levels, often end up wealthy financially as well. They weren't chasing the dollar, they were chasing mastery, and the dollar chased them. Living in true wealth also means you live with generosity, and generosity multiplies money. When you're abundant in spirit, you give more. You give time, you give energy, you give resources, you give value, and in doing so, you create a cycle where more comes back to you. The miser who clings tightly to every dollar operates from scarcity, and scarcity repels wealth. The person who gives freely operates from abundance, and abundance attracts wealth. This doesn't mean giving recklessly. It means giving from a place of alignment, knowing that you're not losing but expanding. That mindset creates momentum, and momentum pulls money into your orbit. There's also the factor of joy. When you live in true wealth, you live with joy in what you do, and joy is magnetic. People are drawn to joy because it's rare. Most of the world is stressed, burned out, and miserable. When someone shows up with energy, with joy, with passion, they stand out. That energy creates connections, partnerships, and opportunities that turn into financial gain. The irony is that if you tried to fake the joy just to make money, it wouldn't work. It has to be real. It has to come from true wealth, from actually living a life that lights you up. That's why money follows. It follows authentic energy, not forced performance. Purpose is the deepest form of wealth, and purpose pulls money like gravity. When you're aligned with purpose, you become unstoppable. People want to support you. They want to fund you. They want to work with you because they see you're building something bigger than yourself. Purpose makes you resilient. It makes you creative. It makes you resourceful. And those qualities generate wealth in every form, including financial. People who live only for money run out of steam because money isn't enough to sustain them through difficulty. People who live for purpose push through the challenges, and because of that persistence, money eventually flows to them. Purpose is the magnet. Money is the metal. Confidence is another wealth factor that draws money. When you live in true wealth, your confidence isn't dependent on your bank account. It comes from knowing who you are, what you bring, and what you're building. That kind of confidence cannot be faked. It's a quiet certainty that makes people want to bet on you, invest in you, partner with you. Money chases confidence because confidence creates action, and action creates results. A desperate person may chase money with shaky energy, but a confident person attracts it with certainty. That's why the inner wealth of confidence inevitably leads to outer wealth. Alignment is wealth, and alignment attracts resources. When your actions, values, and vision are aligned, you operate with power. You make decisions faster, you execute with clarity, you move with momentum. That alignment produces results that are undeniable, and results attract money. Misalignment creates chaos, distraction, and wasted energy, and in that state, even if you chase money, it slips away. Alignment creates flow, and in flow, money naturally follows because it wants to be part of momentum. The world rewards clarity and punishes confusion. So when you live in alignment, the reward often comes in financial form as well. Contribution is one of the most powerful magnets for money because contribution means you're solving problems, you're creating impact, you're making life better for others, and money flows towards solutions. The more people you serve, the more value you create, the more money flows back to you. The person who chases money serves themselves, and their reach is limited. The person who lives in true wealth serves others, and their reach expands. That expansion brings opportunities, partnerships, recognition, and financial growth. Contribution is wealth because it makes your life bigger than yourself, and when your life is bigger than yourself, money becomes a natural byproduct. This is why chasing money is always a losing game, but living in true wealth is always a winning one. When you embody abundance, when you live with energy, passion, purpose, joy, confidence, alignment, and contribution, you radiate a kind of wealth that money cannot resist. It follows, it multiplies, it grows around you, not because you're desperate for it, but because you don't need it to feel wealthy in the first place. That's the paradox. When you no longer need money to feel rich, you attract more of it than you ever imagined,